Welcome back. I'm back working on my Allis Chalmers M65 grader here, picking back up where I left off in the last video. And in the last video we started doing some maintenance on this machine, get it so I could reliably use it without worrying about damaging anything else, just fluids and filters and, you know, checking things out. Got to the tandem drives, and the tandem drives had water in them, so we pulled the covers to flush them out, and the left side looked pretty good. The right side, we ended up having a bearing. The center bearing is out, so I didn't have a appropriate manual, and what I had wasn't very specific. I've since got some more manuals. I wasn't able to find a manual for the M65 tandem drives, but I did find a DD, which is the earlier model for this, and then a parts manual for this. There's kind of some views, and then a fellow named Steve reached out and from the last video and gave me basically a step-by-step on what I needed to do. And I originally thought you'd have to pull these flanges, but those flanges actually hold like a friction disc in here, and that's to keep the tandem drive from, I think, just flopping around. So what we need to do now is pull this plate, pull the chains, pull the sprocket, and then the axle should come out from the pinion and the crown gear. The middle carrier in this thing should be able to pull that whole shaft out, pull the bearing off, and clean everything up. So I guess to start with, we're gonna pull these, jack it up, pull these wheels and tires off, and dig into it. I'll move these wheels back and forth and you'll be able to see that bearing. So really the only thing that's been keeping that centered were these chains pulling this way or that way. So it's kind of flopping around in there. It feels really nice and tight, which I'm happy to see. I was worried we were gonna have more stuff wore out in there than just that bearing. Now when I was driving this machine around, I noticed that they naturally steer really hard, and I assumed that was because, you know, this was locked in with this one. And I was like, man, it really seems like it's got like a, you know, a solid locked differential. And looking through the parts books and talking to Steve, the fellow who reached out about this bearing. If you're watching this, Steve, thank you. You've been very helpful. This is just, it's a pinion and a crown gear. There's no differential. It's just a carrier, and this axle's locked solid with that side, and these are locked solid together. So it's just one big mass that's working together, which I'm sure when they only replaced 2 tires on the back probably didn't help any of this issues with this stuff wearing. It might not have ruined this bearing, but you know, one of these might have been slightly taller. They're the same size tire, but they're different manufacturers, they're different heights. You know, those were working and wearing against things and pulling harder on one side instead of the other. So could have contributed. I wish you had smell-o-vision, because this gear oil reeks. Anyhow, okay, so it's like grade 120 chain. That's interesting that there's a welded link in there. I don't know why they did that, but we got to break the master link here on both of them, pull the chains off, and then take this nut loose, pull this sprocket off, and from there we should be able to, actually this one, if the bearing's junk, we might be able to just pull it out as one unit. We'll see. Get this turned into position. I've got the left side up in the air now so the whole rear end can spin. Don't mind all the background noises, it's really windy today. Rotate that around so we can get it to drop out. And it's got a couple links in it, and yeah, I'm guessing they broke these chains a couple times over the years. Oh, and there goes one of them, just over top. Get this chain pulled out of here, and they don't give you much room to get it out of there. Fish it out this one. Ooh, nasty stuff. Throw that right in a bucket. Cleaned up. The back one here's a little less fun to get to. The pins are on the back side here, so we'll get that out. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm guessing by how much play this thing has in it, I'm going to be able to just pull this axle right out of here. Yep, looks like it. Yeesh, that made a mess. Okay, so looking at this axle here, it looks like the inner seal has been hanging in there. I don't know if over the time the water made it through the housing and into the rear end, and that's how we got that water in the rear end, or if or what's going on. But this sealing surface doesn't look real great either, so we may look into like a speedy sleeve or something, but somebody's definitely had it apart. We've got some looks like vice jaws or pipe wrench on there, probably when working on this at some point. This is a spacer, so that's okay, and then that's your whole sprocket. This is the bearing surface that is junk, but should just slide off here once this is removed. But this is our sealing surface, and it doesn't look stellar, so we'll have to look into that as we go. But it's potential we could build that up and machine it down, or we could look into a speedy sleeve, but I don't know, that might be too gone for a speedy sleeve. Might have to machine that, but that's okay. So looking in through the tandem drive now, you can see the other axle coming in the other side, and you can see there's some oil. Yeah, it looks like mostly fresh oil came out of the rear end in that housing. That housing shouldn't have any oil in it, so we'll evacuate that before we do anything else. Let's see, what else are we looking at? Looks like the seal's all chewed up, and there's supposed to be a snap ring here, so let's see if we can get that loose, and hopefully that hub is okay. So this is what I thought was damaged, but it's just a groove to get your pry bars in there to remove that snap ring. But it is really in there. Let's see if we can like maybe hit that with a punch or something. Let me work on this a while and I'll see if I can get that snap ring out. Got a little bit of heat in here and cut that snap ring. So hopefully we can get it peeled out here. Man, that's in there. Well, I got everything cleaned out of there. It looks like all the flange looks okay. Where the bearing was still looks all right. Gonna have to clean it up a little bit. Snap ring groove is still existing. There's some wear up in here. I might have to get in here with a sanding disc or something because there's a pretty good lip to where that seal is supposed to sit in there. So probably have to get that filed out, but that's not too big a deal. I'm going to clean all this sludge out of the bottom and we'll get prepped to start reinstalling stuff. Here's what was left. That's the seal. This is all that was left of the bearing. Hardly anything at all. And here's the snap ring that was holding it in. So I'm going to have to source a new snap ring for it, but I think we'll be all right. All right, I've got these tandem drives cleaned out to the best of my ability. They're looking pretty good inside. Got inside that axle tube cleaned up pretty good. Still gonna have to do a little cleaning on this seal bore and bearing bore there before I reinstall those. Also cleaned up and flushed out the other side here. Couldn't get it quite as good with the chains in there, but we've got most of the sludge and all the water out of it. This side actually is looking pretty good, so that's makes me happy. Had it up in the air and can't seem to hear or find play in any of the bearings there. So I think we're all right on this side yet. Got the chains out. Got them in a bucket over there to clean up. Got the axle shaft here. Next I need to pull off this sprocket and spacer to get our bearing off of here. To do that, we just need to take this nut off the end. And then this should be on there with a key. coming apart way easier than I thought. Key out of there. And the sprocket, which is nice if these are worn. I'm sure I can find a better used one, but as bad as they kind of look, it's got a fair bit of life left in it for what I'm gonna do. And then this is a spacer, which I guess it still serves its purpose, but wouldn't be a bad idea to maybe make a new one of them. And then it's your bearing race. I don't know if that's shrunk on there or not, but probably the best way to get that off is going to be just to torch it off. And now we should be able to just knock that right off. Perfect. Well, I've got what I believe to be the correct bearing and seal to finish this job up. Let's see how close this seal is to this surface. Looks like it's not. It's still hitting, so I might see about filling in some low spots on this and maybe recutting it. But it's not too far off. But that appears that I got the right seal, so that's good. I think this wouldn't cross-reference, but the bearing actually would cross-reference from an original number. So those parts and pieces you seen earlier, that's what they should look like. And okay, there's just a little slight step there. So when we, it seems right, but when we go to put it together, we'll have to throw this in the oven for a little while. Let's check and see if it fits the housing. Now we're on the machine. It feels correct. There's definitely some burrs on stuff. I need to get those burrs cleaned up, but it's seems right. So I want to beat it in there because there's a little bit of a burr where that snap ring was. There's a big burr where the seal goes in there. That step up where it's at actually looks like the whole axle just wore right into it, just past that. But the seal itself saved the lip that it sits in. So we'll clean that up yet. Well, I've got the new bearing, new seal, I believe a snap ring that will fit. Got some new cotter keys laid out. I machined a new spacer Probably didn't have to, but with this one being worn like this, I figured why not while you're in there. And then I got a new piece of keyway machined down, because this one's got a little bit of wear to it, and if you're in there, you might as well fix it. So those are junk. Got to look at these sealing surfaces. We'll chuck this up in the lathe and see how badly that's worn. I've got an idea to fix that pretty easily. And we also need to repair this groove right here. It's where the bearing race wore into the flange. This is what I'm going to use to clean that up. It's just a little sanding drum on a stick and a straight 90 or a straight die grinder, so that'll work. Just going to stuff some material in here to help keep the any of the metal flakes and bits from going up into the differential housing. After a ton of cleaning and sanding, I think we've got it cleaned up enough to start reassembling. So I've got a seal and bushing driver kit, but I don't have anything near big enough for this seal. But I do have this drop laying around, which should be sufficient for what I'm doing. So I'm gonna machine this out to fit my driver. If you haven't seen it yet, I put out a video of getting this old South Bend lathe going. Been in the background for a lot of years, and hooked this phase converter up and got this lathe all going now. So that's cool. This idler motor is awful noisy though, so still need to look into that. Sounds like there's something inside kind of rubbing on the like fan or something. With this bore not being perfect, I'm going to put a little bit of black RTV in here, help lubricate that seal in there, and then if there's imperfections in the flange yet, it should help seal them up. that looks good. That sits in there nice. Happy with that. Before I get going much farther on this, we've got to take care of these sealing surfaces. This one here is the one that the outer seal rides on that I just drove in, and then this is one up in the differential. I'm gonna chuck this up in the lathe, and we're gonna take some emery cloth, clean this up, and I think I've got a solution that wouldn't involve welding on this. Hopefully I can fit this whole shaft in here. Yep. Be gentle on that surface. What this does is just make it so it's supported on both ends. If I do any machining here, it won't deflect with this in there. Well, my reason for cleaning these sealing surfaces up is I'm going to take some JB Weld and fill in all those voids and low spots, and then smooth it back, turn it down and smooth it back out, and I think that should give us a good sealing surface. I've done that before and it never really gave me any issue, so I don't see why it wouldn't work in this scenario. This is the quick setting JB Weld. Makes it a little handier. Just put a thin layer across this whole thing. A little heavy won't hurt anything. Got them coated up nicely, so now we'll let that epoxy set. Alright, so this has hardened up, so I'm just going to, I got a fresh cutter in here, I'm going to try to skim this off, probably run at a little higher speed. Hopefully it doesn't just peel off. Hopefully I got it rough enough and clean enough that it cleans right up. So this one I pretty much just turned under a couple thousandths to help clean this up. It's not perfect, but it'll hold gear oil in. Going to put this bearing in the oven so it's ready to drop on the shaft. Probably 275, Probably be good. Let's give a little bit of light coating of oil. All right. And up next after the bearing is our spacer, and then our new keyway. Goes our sprocket back on. You know, now I'm looking at this, I really need to put that shaft in before I put this sprocket on, so it's gonna come back off. Well, we know the keyway fits good. I ended up putting this sprocket back on to hold this bearing in place while cause I think I kind of have to drive this in. I know it's not just a slip fit. So I'll just pull this sprocket back off once it's in there so we can get the snap ring in. Going in. One last check. Make sure everything looks okay. Sure does. Line, oh, they were through the seal. The axle's lined up. Okay, now we can drive that in. Pull this sprocket back off. Nut, washer. Now I'm hoping we can get the snap ring in there, and hopefully the snap ring is it fits, because it doesn't look like it's going to, but we'll see. Okay, so I've got my snap ring, and it wouldn't fit between the bearing and the groove, which when I took it apart and was cleaning it up earlier, it almost looked like when that shaft and bearing race had been rolling in that flange, that it kind of mushroomed over the edge of that flange, and I think that's keeping the bearing out farther than it should be. So I'm going to pull this back out and reevaluate that distance and make sure it adds up to as much or more than our bearing. Okay. Here we go. This bearing looks to be about 790 thousandths thick. And just by eyeballing, It looks like we're 770 thousandths thick. 20 thousandths, I don't know. I'm gonna maybe double check some part numbers and stuff and make sure that that is the correct bearing. It's probably really hard to tell on camera, but it looks like there's a lip and some burrs that it's hitting. But to figure out a way, it's definitely doing that. Looking up in there, I have to figure out a way to cut that out. The easy way to do it would be pull that flange out, but if you loosen those, if you take those bolts out, this whole assembly comes off. That's the only thing holding it on. And I don't particularly want to take that apart. We could probably get away, we could support this if we had to, but I think I got a way I can clean that up. So I double checked, this is the correct bearing. It is the correct thickness. What I thought happened did happen. It looks like that this inner flange face right here, what I'm butting up against, has gotten rolled over 10 to 20 thousandths. And you can see it, I can see it here, and you can almost, I mean, you can kind of catch a screwdriver on it. So I've got to grind that out of there. I thought about pulling this flange, and if I understand the schematic right, these bolts here that are attached to this casting are what holds this thing together, but this is actually sandwiched between here and there. At least that's what I'm seeing here. If this makes sense to me, so those are the bolts I'm seeing. There's, it looks like this flange is all one piece here, and it fits up in this other one. So I think to get that out, you would have to pull the tandem drive box. You would have to pull that outer flange off there, all those thrust washers and friction discs in between there. So it's a lot bigger job, and to be honest, I didn't want to do this to start with, so if I can get it done right without pulling that out, I'll be happy. So my plan is to take, I've got some roll-lock discs on a straight 90 on a straight die grinder, and I'm just going to come in here and I'm going to run them around that edge and try to grind that lip back. Probably leave shop back running, try to keep the dust to a minimum, but we'll get it here. How that lip is really thin right here and then widens out down here, and you can see how it's getting cut back. I think this is going to work out good. All right, I've got this cleaned out the best I can do it. It's measuring deep enough now, and we've got a nice flatter surface than we did have. So we should be good to put this back together. Oh, geez, that sure was easier last time. There, got splines lined up. And yes, I'm aware that this bearing should be driven in here from the outside race. Well, I've got everything sitting in there, cleaned up. I've got the snap ring. This isn't the snap ring I pulled out. I had to cut the old one out, and this is the closest I could find to what came out of there, and it was still 10 thousandths too thick, so I ground 10 to 15 thousandths off this thing in hopes that it's going to fit down in that groove. I don't know if this will work, but I'm thinking that maybe I can draw it together and then hold it up and knock it into the bore this way. Here goes nothing. 3, 2, 1. Ah! Perfect! Sitting in there good. Wow! I hope that's together correctly, because that ain't gonna be fun to get back out. Okay, that's great. That is sitting in there correctly. It's down in the groove. So the bearing's in where it belongs, snap ring's in. We are good to continue assembly. Hopefully this sprocket going on for the last time. And the nut. Time to put the chains back in. This one looks to be the rear chain. Don't see why it would matter which way it went. Well, I was overlooking something. Started to put these chains back together, and this link is tight. I can hardly bend it. And all the rollers are good, so that means the pin's bent. This one looks like there's like shrapnel in there. So the bushing or the sleeve on the pin, I'm not exactly sure what broke on it, but this one's pulled apart, this one's bent. You can see that a little better. And there's at least one more that's messed up. So we're gonna have to either order some chains, or maybe we can just get a couple repair links. Most of it looks good. I'm sure this is not cheap chain, so we may cut it at like that one and this one and see what we get. The front chain out of that side looks good yet. I mean, not perfect, but there's a master link in it there. Somebody repaired it there. There's another master link in it there where they fixed it. So maybe we just fix this. I have to see. It's got, that's, I mean, I need a whole piece to add on to see what's available. Well, after 2 weeks of trying to find the chain that fits these tandem drives, this is as close as I could get. There was one more manufacturer that I think can specialty make it, but they still haven't got back with me, and I'd like to get this put together. So my plans are, we're gonna put one new chain in this and one old chain. So according to these links, this is 122 chain. So I'm assuming it's a specialty narrow 120 chain. So it's 1.5 inch pitch, but it's 3/4 inches wide on the roller dimension. Normal 120 is 1 inch wide on the roller dimension. And it's a significant difference. The real concern isn't really the front or the rear sprockets, it's where they come through the middle here, and if they're gonna touch or not. So I bought what I thought, well, another issue I ran into was I was trying to buy 120 chain and nobody would sell it to me by the foot. They would only sell it to me in 10-foot reels. So I need 42 links, including the master link, per chain. And from everything I read, you would get 80 links per 10 foot out of a, well, 80 links per 10 feet, and they would only sell me 10 feet. So what I did was I bought a 10-foot section, and I bought enough offset links to make it the correct length I needed. So one chain would be perfect and the other one would be made up of some offset links, which isn't the end of the world, and this thing runs in gear oil all the time, so I'm not too worried. But because of the difference in chain dimension, I'm going to, so this is the chain that's actually bad, that has the broken sleeves in it. I'm going to run the original front, and then I'm going to cut this down and make the rear. So let's get to doing that. Mark the link we want to remove, so don't make it too short. This is the finest Chinese chain, Dong Ho. Sure, it's great stuff. Here's all three chains together. We got the new full 120 and then the 122s. Here you can see where that one link is spread apart. It's almost completely popped, and that's from balls getting in between the sprocket and the chain rollers. So the bushing's broke, and then that's spread, and then this link is bent. So if I had like this much of one of these that I could throw a master link in and add on, that would be great. So I'm definitely going to save these chains, because aside from these couple bad spots, they're okay, and seeming they're made of unobtainium, it's worth hanging on to. But this is the front one that came out of it. There's a little nick right here. All the rollers roll okay. We got that master link, this master link. They added a half link here, and well, not really a half link, but offset link and another offset link It's like they put, last time this was apart, I'm guessing they had a similar issue that I'm running into, and they had to piece something together. This one does have a part number that I didn't see before, but looking it up, I'm not really finding full chain with it, just a master link. So we'll stick it together with this, and hopefully everything works okay. Okay, there's that one. All right. I don't like how wide that is, but that's all we got to work with. All right, I got the whole rear end pulled up off the ground, so I can rotate this now. What I'm looking for is if these parts of this master link sticking out, if they're going to hit anything, mainly like these bolt heads here. I really don't think they're going to hit anything, so it should be fine on that side. Going to fish these cotter pins in the master link. So get this front chain fished in there. This one's the drain plug. Gonna get this side cleaned up. Ready to reseal it. I'm using a gasket sealer on this. I'm not, it's just black RTV. It's usually, it's like your gear oil resistant stuff. Because with all the water that was in here, I don't want to chance a cork gasket. I want it sealed up. let that set up. I was just looking at this and getting ready to snug these up after this sitting. And, you know, you probably noticed that I didn't put this on. I did not. Trying to film this stuff, it's really easily to get distracted from doing one thing to moving the camera around and stuff. So forgetting things like this is more common than I would like to admit. So let's put that on. Don't think this has set up totally yet, so yeah. There you go. Missing something here, aren't we? These take, I don't remember how many gallons of 80, 90. There's a check plug in here, so you just fill it up till it runs out. I'm actually going to put a neodymium magnet in there, especially since this bearing went bad. If anything comes loose, you know, this will catch it, or floats around in the oil. Keep it clean. I put one in the other side as well when I filled it back up. And you can see it's just starting to come out of the level hole. Spun it around and the chains look good. So let's seal up these top plates and put them back together. So this is something I want to highlight. These two tires on the right were the drives on the right. Well, both sides of the grader have these. It has these on the back and it had these on the front. And then, you know, yeah, the left is the front steer on this thing. These are all 8 1/4 20s. And I guess, you know, you might think they're all the same height, but they're not even close. It's really hard to tell on camera, but right now these that inner one, this one here, is probably an inch taller than this, and then of course this has been wore down. But the problem is these being set up on a tandem drive like this, they're directly chained together, and this not having a differential, just a crown gear and a pinion, means that the left and the right is tied together, and all four are locked completely together. So it's really important to have the same, it honestly doesn't have to be the same exact tire, but they need to be the same diameter. So you know, it's hard to tell when it's on the machine, but side by side I can see that this is, you know, this really shouldn't be on here. Of course the one's wore out, and on this side this one's really nice, and this one is just wore to bits, and it's showing cords. So my guess is that that one was grabbing a lot better and it was skidding this one along because of the difference in diameter. So I'm going to throw those back on for now because I don't have 4 matching to put on this, but the plan is, before we do too much or run it down the road a lot, we're gonna get 4 new or equally sized rears on this thing. Close enough for me. Oh, this machine's heavy. A bit leery of running these down with an impact. I don't really want to break the clamps, so we'll check them with hands. This RTV should be set up by now, so I'll snug these bolts down. Fill up this turntable gearbox. Same as the drive, you just fill it up till it comes out the level plug here. Now this top plug is a vented plug, and I double checked that in the parts book. I stuck a cotter key in there. I don't know if that's going to help keep moisture out or not. Obviously some got in here before. Might put a little dab of grease on there too. That way pressure won't build up, but hopefully water won't get in. So while I'm up here working on this thing, we've got play between the shaft and this, I guess you could call it a sprocket. Not sure if that's just a keyway in there or if it's a tapered fit or what, but since this gets a lot of pressure on it from the blade trying to push this turntable, I think it would be best to check it out while we're here. Got a little wear to it. I think the best bet for what we've got going here is just going to be put it up in here and make sure that nut's tight, and we keep it tight. And it's not going to see a 40-hour week probably the rest of its life, so this really isn't anything to worry about. That's good and tight now, so hopefully at least shouldn't wear anymore. All right, now that we got our oil, got the tandem drives taken care of, we got the hydraulics topped off, the engine oil's changed, transmission rear end oil's changed, the gearbox on the turntables changed. The only thing that gear-wise oil that hasn't been changed is that auxiliary transmission, but it looks really good, so I'm gonna leave it be. I think next, because it's kind of in the way for several things, so this radiator shroud, it's cracked here, cracked there. It looks like it might have threw a fan blade at one time. That needs work done. And this fan belt also needs replaced. It's I'm sure it's probably got plenty of life left in it, but if we're gonna drain the coolant and work on this, then we might as well change the fan belt. And while we have the coolant drain down again, we need to put the new temperature gauge in. So with all that, let's drain the coolant and take this. I think the bottom mounts of this radiator aren't doing too great, so I think I'm gonna take this whole rear assembly off. Looks kind of heavy, but I think I can handle it. There we go. It's really stuck on there. I think I'm ready to tip this thing out of here. This thing looks fairly similar to like a D17 tractor radiator, which is the same engine that this would have used. Something along those lines. It's similar size, outputs and stuff. The cradle is what kind of has some bad spots in it. This has kept moisture and probably road grime, or probably some chloride sprayed on some dirt roads has gotten up in here. But it's still solid enough to be holding it in there. You know, once we put it back in, I can spray this with like some oil or something to hopefully keep it from getting worse. But I'm mainly after kind of cleaning up these areas, and I don't want this thing shaking and vibrating as I'm running it and getting worse and actually damaging the radiator more than it already is. So the rest of it looks pretty good. The core looks good. We'll get it all cleaned up here, and luckily it wasn't hard to get out of there. And if you wanted to pull it completely out, looks like it would just be 6 more bolts and you could pull it out of this back shell. But I don't think I care to do that. I think it's given it some stability, and I don't want it tweaking and warping any more than it is. Right now is a great time to get this belt changed out, so let's do that. We got to pull this pump just a little bit loose so we can shimmy the belt through there. Also need to take these bolts loose out of the coupler. Okay, got everything loose. Should be able to back it off now. And as I'm pulling this apart, I'm seeing the rubber on these bushings is shot as well on 2 of them, so I need to source something like that. Yeah, see, that one's completely gone. Luckily, it looks like they just kind of let go recently. It didn't really wear too much into the coupler. And that bracket needs welded as well. That's cracked. There we go. Here's a new one. Really need to pull this bracket off to fix it. That's cracked. Kind of interesting how chewed up it is, but it's alright. It's cracked right here as well. So weld both those up. Get this fished on here. Same belt came off, but it's a little bit snug. There we go. So I'm working on recreating these bushings that go in the pump drive, and what I've got is a piece of rubber belting that's approximately the same thickness as this, and I've got a hole saw that's the same inside as this is outside, and I've got the smallest hole saw to try to bore this center out, and I think it's going to be pretty close. I'd love to set one inside the other, but there's not enough thread on this arbor, so I'm gonna see about drilling the holes separately, but let's see how this goes. Wow, that worked way better than I thought it would. I'm afraid that looks still too big. Yeah, that's too big. Let me see if I can find another bit. I don't know if a regular twist drill will work on this or not. I've got this rotor broach instead. It's a lot closer to the size I need, so that might work. like a way better fit. Now if we can line up our outer hole saw and actually get that to follow through. I'm not sure. Maybe use this old hole underneath as like a pilot guide. It's pretty close to the middle. These don't have to be perfect. And if they're a little oversized and they squeeze in, that would be perfect actually. So, next best thing. That's working, but I'm hitting a table. That don't look too bad. Let's see. It fits. Our bushing fits. Let's see if it fits in the pump flange. It fits. It's a little bit tight, but that's what you want. So we should be able to put those in, slide the bushings into those, and we'll be good to go. So I'll make up a couple more. Gotta put these bushings in. They come in from this side, so they're kind of snug right now. So put a little bit of this cable lube on it. This is just for like pulling wires and cable for electrical, but it shouldn't break down this rubber. So in an effort to get these to fit in there better, I've got the bushing, the steel part, into the rubber part, and I'm going to spin that up in a lathe and recut the outer diameter with this hole saw, hopefully, and then that will shrink this down just a little bit so it fits in the flange correctly. Looks a little better. Let's try that. And the holes are more concentric now. Alright, here goes about the 15th try to get this to work. This has got to be one of the least fun things I've done in a long time. Two. Alright, got all three started. Hopefully that holds up pretty good. All right, well, that's all back together. Hopefully those bushings hold up pretty good. I'm a little bit worried that they're not really made up of tough enough material. But I mean, if they let loose again, or you know, I'll check on them, and if they're wore out really quickly, or they come out of there, probably make it out of something a little more dense. This is similar to what came out of there, but I think it's a more porous rubber than what was in there. I'm also noticing this, what looks like a strainer for the hydraulic. So this would be your suction line into your pump. And I'm guessing that's just to catch large debris before it gets through here. And the actual filtering is on the return side to the tank. So we've got new fan belt on it. We got new bushings in there. The pump's put back on. We got the axle pulled out, and we've got new seal, bearing, snap ring in there, new drive chain on the rear. The wheels are put back on. That's all sealed up. Both chain cases for the tandem drives are flushed out and fresh 80/90 in them. Turntable gearbox has fresh oil in it now. That was flushed out. So we're kind of moving right along on this project. It's taken a while for this particular step because I really just couldn't find those chains, and I really wanted to find the right one that came out of it. But as far as I've found, I've talked to at least 6 main suppliers of chain, and they all say, try these people, we don't make it. And then you get a hold of them and they say, nope, we don't have it, try these people. And then you get a hold of them and they same over and over and over. So is what it is. That should work. Like I said, this thing's not going to see a ton of use for what I have planned for it, so I don't think that'll be an issue. So I think this is where I'm going to leave off with this video. We've kind of got to the point where I've got, this is approximately on and off for a month working on it to get to this point. There's hours and hours of video to sort through, so I think this is going to be a decent video, probably about an hour long is what I'm hoping for. If you like this kind of stuff and you want to continue to follow along with this, there's a playlist on this grader, and if you're not already, make sure you're subscribed to the channel, because you know, more will come on. And there's a little bit more frequent updates if you follow like my Instagram or Facebook page. It's same as here, Randy's Relics, and sometimes I post pictures on there for, you know, a little shorter updates. But appreciate y'all watching, and leave a like and a comment if you want, and I'll see you on the next one.